Hey, Brandon here from the Battle of Waterloo Gearbox channel. Today I'll be taking you guys through how to install the Gen 8 gearbox inside the TAR-21. So we'll open it up, have a look at the gearbox, and see what we've got to play with. There's the two gearboxes. That's the TAR, obviously, and it's Gen 8. So the first thing I'm going to have to do, because the gearboxes run so differently, as you can see, this one doesn't have a trigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these off, and put this connection on this Gen 8 and see what happens, because pretty much the TAR itself is just has wires running all through it, and you plug the gearbox into one big plug, and then that operates the trigger and everything else. So hopefully doing this on this would do the same, and then I'll take out the trigger switch because it's not needed, and maybe the trigger as well. It's not going to get in the way, so I might just leave it in there. But if my M4A1 needs another trigger, I'm better off taking it out now instead of later. And then I've just got to take the T-piece and put the TAR T-piece in there. I already tried it; it fits in great. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how I go in my process. We've just soldered the wires onto here, and we've plugged it in, plugged the battery in to see if the gearbox is going to work. The trigger, I left the trigger in there just because, well, I haven't gotten around to pulling it out. I might just leave it in there, maybe. Taking the trigger switch out. So we'll see if it works. Yep, definitely working. So we just got to move on to opening the shell up and modifying the shell so the gearbox is going to fit. I've managed to be able to get the Gen 8 gearbox inside the TAR. So what we had to do was cut, as you probably can see the line, a bit of plastic sticking up there, cut that, and then the same at the top. Plastic on the, sorry, get the focus. Yep, plastic along here, cut. Now with the gearbox itself, I did have to mod it just a little bit. So I ended up cutting off the front piece, this piece just here, which would just go straight over the top here. And that's where your T-piece would go. Sorry. So yeah, it seems going to fit. I've just needed to cut down the back, the stock part, just that piece of plastic sticks up there, that ring, cut it off. So I'll get the other half and show you what I actually cut off, so you can follow it a bit easier. So this is the opposite side, of course. As I said, we've cut a piece of plastic off here, which is down here. I'll show you, see. So we've got to cut this off, and up at the top, just got to cut this this part here as well off, and it should fit. So I'll do that, put it back together, and show you what I've got. So I've got the gearbox in. I've cut the plastic down, like I said in the last one, but I did have to cut a bit of extra ridges here on the shell and this little nub, and we kept pushing the on the gearbox, lifting it up a bit. And since this gearbox isn't made for this blast, obviously, I'm just going to put some dabs of hot glue on it to keep the gearbox from rattling around inside there. I did take the trigger switch out, but I left the trigger in, but yeah, it doesn't get in the way of everything. The other thing on this shell I had to do was this screw hole right here was too thick to squeeze in this tiny little gap here next to the motor, so I've just cut it a bit. It still screws down. I've just cut half of it off to make it fit easier. So yeah, I'll chuck it all back together and show you the final build. TAR-21 is all back together. We're running the Gen 8 gearbox. Everything still works, everything's great. One thing I should caution people about when taking this blaster apart is it comes in 3 sections. So there's 2 sides of the front section here and here. There's 2 sides of this, so the third section, this top rail part here, and then the main body, and also the handle, so 4 sections. The handle comes off separately. And when I was wedging this off, both of the pegs snapped off at the back here. So I'm just super gluing them and putting some putty around them to secure them. I shouldn't have to take the blaster apart again. So everything still works. Yeah, so switch it on. The mag's in there, so it still primes and everything. Still shoot. Whoops, there goes one of the gels. Yeah, I wish I'm gonna have to work out how to put a bigger battery in here because this is the one with the standard TAR mam comes with. And it's just quite small, and if you're running around doing a skirmish, I don't imagine this lasting too long. I want to try to put a 11 volt battery, squeeze 11 volt battery in there, or just a bigger 7 volt. I just took out my TAR to give it a shoot, and I definitely found a problem with putting the Gen 8 inside. I reckon I'm gonna have to definitely get a new barrel, because the gels just they're not shooting good at all. They fall short, or they shoot like a shotgun multiple out. So I reckon it's the T-piece that's inside that needs to be resized, or I need to somehow try to fit the M4A1 T-piece in, but I can't do that now because I cut the front off. Or yeah, like I said, replace the aluminium with an aluminium barrel to hope that helps it. But I'll have a fiddle with it, and we'll see what I get done, and I'll let you know. Back at it with the TAR-21 with the Gen 8 gearbox. So my last part, I mentioned that it wasn't shooting well at all, that the gels were shooting, falling really short, or they were bunching up and shooting like a shotgun, or just falling straight out of the barrel. So I'll explain what I believe what was the problem. So this is the regular T-piece the TAR-21 comes with. And for demonstration purposes, we'll use this pencil as the plunger head on the gearbox. So when I had it inside the T-piece, I only had it sitting about halfway. I just didn't check before I put it all together. So when it moved back to let a gel come in and shoot, there was so much dead space, the air was just escaping, the gels were just falling out. So make sure when you do it, you have the plunger head as far as possible, the gearbox as far as possible as forwards. If not, just grind out more of the shell to get it to fit. But what I did instead, just because at the time I didn't actually think of what the problem was, I just assumed it was a T-piece and needed resizing. I just end up swapping out the whole T-piece for the HK 416 Panda as T-piece. This took a lot more work because it's such a bigger T-piece, and it didn't fit in the shell. It looks like a hot glue mess because it's just hot glued in there. And then also I didn't want to take more time by cutting this out and putting a new barrel in. So this is the same length, same barrel length as the Panda, but the problem was it only just sat in this little piece here that holds the barrel. So that meant I couldn't chuck on a hop up at the front. So today I took it apart and just cut another length of barrel, got this piece of aluminium tube, I made a little coupling, just taped it and glued it together. So hopefully that works. I haven't tested it yet. Another thing I did do, on the weekend we had the Battle for Waterloo round 5, and one guy didn't have a blaster, so I let him borrow my TAR for the day. And I noticed, so when I took it apart, since I only hot glued it in there, most of the hot glue had just broken off and the gearbox was just rattling around, just holding in there. So today I made up this little bracket. It's screwed in down on this metal ridge here. Screwed down on this plastic ridge here. Screwed, and then it's screwed into the gearbox, and the way the screws angled, it's angled at the way the screw is screwed in, it's angled. So it goes into the gearbox and then comes back out of the gearbox. So it's in the way of nothing. It's not in the way of anything. Then I just added more hot glue to keep it in there. So I'll put it back together and do a firing video to show that it actually works. And yeah. Outside now with the TAR-21 with the Gen 8 gearbox. Another thing I wanted to mention, you can see that there's a clear bit of plastic in there. I did that myself. The TAR comes with it completely open. I didn't want water or dirt getting there with the wires. It's a bit dark outside, so I'm just in the garage at the moment. So I don't think you'll be able to see it shooting, hitting. I'm just going to aim for the garage door. So I don't think you'll be able to actually see the gels, but just to show that it works and that you can see hear gels coming out. So yeah. It's shooting fine now and all working. Yeah, so my thoughts of this mod. I reckon if you can pick up a TAR-21 for pretty cheap and the Gen 8 gearbox, I recommend definitely doing it. It's really not that hard if you do it the right way, unlike I did. It's pretty easy mod. Only other thing I would like to look at is being able to somehow fit the bigger 11-volt batteries in there, just because they last a hell of a lot longer than the other ones I have. As I said before, I put a bit of clear plastic here, stop dirt and water getting in, and now I extended the barrel enough that you definitely fit a hot up on there. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll happily respond. Check out our we now have a Facebook page up, so check it out. It's just called The Battle for Waterloo. Yeah, so we post our events up there, little sneak peeks of what we're doing to the field. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.